Hello everybody, this is Refresh and I'm here to bring you a battle between the two sealed decks from Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realms for Magic the Gathering. These two sealed decks have been assembled in previous videos, and if you check the description box below, you'll get to see the links to each of those. And we'll be playing the best of 3 for these games. Over here we have a black and blue Dimir deck, and over there we have a red and black Rakdos deck. And we'll roll off to see who goes first. Dimir gets a 7. Rakdos rolls a 6. Dimir will opt to go first. Dimir draws a Mind Flayer, Swamp, Thieves' Tools, Swamp, Ray of Frost, Vampire Spawn, and a Grim Bounty. Not an amazing hand, but it is one that can work as long as we draw some islands. So we'll keep it. Rakdos draws a Hobgoblin Captain, Deadly Dispute, Mountain, Drider, Swamp, Shambling Ghost, and Temple of the Dragon Quest. I think that this is an acceptable hand. We have our colors and things to do. Dimir will begin by playing a Swamp, and we'll pass the turn. Rakdos draws a Hive of the Eye Tyrant. We'll go ahead and play the Swamp. Tap the Swamp and cast a Shambling Ghast. This is a 1/1 zombie. When it dies, you choose target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn, or create a treasure token, and then we'll pass the turn. Dimir draws an Evolving Wilds. We'll play the Evolving Wilds. This is a land. It says tap, sacrifice it, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. So we'll tap and sack it. We'll go ahead and grab a island, and then we'll pass the turn. Rakdos untaps. Draws an improvised weaponry. We're going to play the mountain next. We're going to attack with the Shambling Ghast for 1. Dimir takes 1 and goes to 19. Rakdos will tap out and cast the Hobgoblin Captain. This is a 3/1 Goblin Barbarian, and whenever it attacks, if you attack with creatures with total power 6 or greater this turn, this combat, it gains first strike until end of turn, and then we'll pass the turn. Dimir untaps. Draws a Trickster's Talisman. We'll play a Swamp. We'll tap out and cast Vampire Spawn. This is a 2/3 vampire, and when it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. We'll go up to 21. Rakdos drops to 18, and then Dimir will pass the turn. Rakdos untaps. Draws a Swarming Goblins. We'll play the Hive of the Eye Tyrant. This is a land. If you control 2 or more other lands, it enters the battlefield tapped. You can tap for black and pay 1 on black until end of turn. It becomes a 3/3 black beholder creature with menace, and whenever this creature attacks, exile target card from defending player's graveyard. It's a land. Then we are going to pass the turn. Dimir draws a Faith's Reversal. We'll tap 2 mana and cast Thieves' Tools. This is an equipment. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Equipped creature can't be blocked as long as its power is 3 or less, and equipped for 2. There's our treasure. And then we'll hold out for now and pass the turn. Rakdos draws a Skullport Merchant. We'll play the Temple of the Dragon Queen. It's a land. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a dragon from your hand. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you reveal a dragon this way, or you control a dragon. As it enters the battlefield, choose a color. You can tap to add 1 mana of the chosen color. We'll choose red. We don't have any good attacks, so we'll tap out. Cast the Skullport Merchant. This is a 1/4 Dwarf Citizen. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token, and you can pay 1 black, sacrifice another creature or treasure, draw a card. Then we'll pass the turn. Dimir taps. Draws a Swamp. We'll play the Swamp. Stealing the Skullport Merchant does shut down their engine. That's probably good enough to do that, so we will spend 5 mana, sacrifice the treasure for blue, and cast a Mind Flayer. This is a 3/3 horror, and when it enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature for as long as you control Mind Flayer. We'll choose the Skullport Merchant. Rakdos loses the Merchant. Dimir gains the Merchant. We don't have good attacks yet, and so we will just pass the turn. Rakdos draws a Red Dragon. I guess the Swarming Goblins or the Drider, but I don't think either of them are going to get us anywhere specifically. I'd rather Deadly Dispute and then try to get another land to make sure that we hit our drops. So we are going to tap our mountain and our swamp and cast Deadly Dispute. This is an instant. It says, as an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature. then draw 2 cards and create a treasure token. So we'll sacrifice a treasure and we'll get another treasure token with the Deadly Dispute trigger, and then we'll draw 2 cards. We drew a mountain and a swamp. Let's go ahead and play the mountain, and then we have the ability to blow something up, but nothing actually matters at this moment, so we're just going to have to hold here for now and pass the turn. Demir draws a Shortcut Seeker. That is probably the best thing to wear the Thieves' Tools. So I think we're going to tap out and cast the Shortcut Seeker. This is a 2/5 human rogue. When it deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. I think we just stay on the defense for now, and we'll pass the turn. Rakdos draws a Goblin Javelineer. We'll play a swamp, and I think this is where we get to turn on the offense, so we'll tap out and cast the Red Dragon. This is a 4/4 dragon with flying. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to each opponent. Demir goes down to 17. We don't have good attacks, so we'll pass the turn. Draw another island. We'll play the island. I think we gotta blow up that dragon before it causes any more problems. So while I was planning on doing other things this turn, I think we pay 2 mana and cast Ray of Frost. This is an aura. It has flash, enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, if an enchanted creature is red, tap it. As long as an enchanted creature is red, it loses all abilities. Enchanted creature does not untap during its controller's untap step. Targeting the Red Dragon. Red Dragon has been Ray of Frost, so it will tap, and it will be a 4/4 with no abilities. And then we still have a little bit of mana open, so we'll pay 2 and equip the Thieves' Tools to the Shortcut Seeker, and then we'll attack with the Shortcut Seeker for 2. Rakdos goes to 16. Then we'll venture into the dungeon. We choose the Lost Mine of Phandelver. We'll put a blue die on it to represent ourselves, and we'll scry 1. It's an island. I don't think we need the island as much anymore, so we'll put it on the bottom. We'll also tap the island, and we'll cast the Trickster's Talisman. This is a equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice Trickster's Talisman. If you do, create a token that's a copy of this creature with equip 2, and then we will pass the turn. Rakdos draws a swamp. We'll play the swamp. We'll spend 5 mana and cast Swarming Goblins. This is a 4/3 goblin, and when it enters the battlefield, roll a d20. 1 through 9, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. 10 through 19, create 2 of those tokens. 20, create 3 of those tokens. We rolled a 12, so we'll be getting 2 goblins. We still don't have good attacks, and so we are going to pass the turn. Demir taps. Draws a swamp. We'll play the swamp. My plan to copy the Mind Flayer with the Thieves' Tools doesn't actually work because the Trickster's Talisman would give the Mind Flayer a power boost. So we could copy the Shortcut Seeker, leaving the Thieves' Tools on it, and I guess that's something. Yeah, I guess that keeps the damage train going. So we'll tap 2 mana and equip the Trickster's Talisman to the Shortcut Seeker. Now it is a 3/6 that cannot be blocked, and we're going to attack the Shortcut Seeker for 3. Rakdos takes 3 and goes to 13. We'll venture, going to the goblins there, getting a 1/1 goblin creature token. Not having a goblin will represent the goblin by this die here. We don't have any threats that we really need to remove, so I think we're just going to hold here and pass the turn. Rakdos draws a mountain. We'll play the mountain. And we don't quite have what we need to push through, so we'll just play out our hand. We'll play a Goblin Javelineer. This is a 1/1 Goblin Warrior with haste, and when it becomes blocked, it deals 1 damage to target creature blocking it. We'll also play a Drider. This is a 4/3 Elf Spider with reach, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create a 2/1 Black Spider creature token with menace and reach. And then we will pass the turn. At the end of Rakdos' turn, we're going to tap 2 mana and use the Skullport Merchant's ability to sacrifice the 1/1 Goblin token to draw a card. We will be drawing Mordenkainen, and then we'll untap. We have an island. We'll play the island. We'll spend 6 mana and cast Mordenkainen. This is a 5 loyalty legendary Mordenkainen Planeswalker. and +2, draw 2 cards. Then put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. -2, create a blue dog illusion creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. And for -10, exchange your hand and library and then shuffle. You get an emblem that says you have no maximum hand size. We will immediately -2 Mordenkainen to get the illusion creature. And I think we have an advantage here. We'll swing with the Shortcut Seeker again. Rakdos takes 2 and goes to 11. We're going to venture into the storeroom to put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, and that will be the dog, making it a 3/3. And I think we'll win if we just hold on tight, so we'll pass the turn. Rakdos draws an Evolving Wilds. I guess we can play it to thin the deck, so we'll play it, tap it, sacrifice it, and search for a mountain. I think we gotta remove Mordenkainen, so I think we just swing with everything. Everything at Mordenkainen. We'll do some easy blocks. The Mind Flayer will block a 1/1 token. We don't want to risk it blocking anything else. We'll block the Hobgoblin Captain with the Skullport Merchant. We'll block the Javelineer with the Vampire Spawn. And the dog will block and trade with the Drider. This will be enough to defeat Mordenkainen, unfortunately, but we should have favorable results in this battle. So Mordenkainen goes down. The Dog Illusion trades with the Drider. The Drider dies. The Captain first strikes but is defeated by the Skullport Merchant. The Javelineer dies running into the Vampire Spawn. One of the Goblins dies running into the Mind Flayer. And then this is where we try to turn things around by tapping 3 mana and casting Improvised Weaponry. It deals 2 damage to any target. Create a treasure token. We'll deal the 2 damage to the Mind Flayer. Mind Flayer dies. Skullport Merchant returns to Rakdos. Rakdos regains the Merchant, and then we will pass the turn. Tamir draws a swamp. We'll play the swamp. We'll tap 2. We'll cast Fate's Reversal. This is a sorcery. Return to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand and venture into the dungeon. We'll grab the Mind Flayer. We'll venture. We'll finish the dungeon and draw a island. We've now completed a dungeon. And then we'll spend 5 mana to recast the Mind Flayer. And we'll take the Skullport Merchant again. While the Flayer's on the stack, we're going to tap 2. Sacrifice the Red Dragon to draw a card. We draw a Hobgoblin Captain. Ray of Frost returns to Damir's graveyard. We'll spend 2 more to sacrifice the treasure to draw another card. We get a mountain. And then the Mind Flayer's effect takes place and the Skullport Merchant changes hands. And then we will swing with the Shortcut Seeker again. Rakdos takes 3 and goes to 8. We'll venture into the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, getting 1 life at the Yawning Portal, going up to 18. And then we'll pass the turn. We draw a Plundering Barbarian. Seems good. Let's go ahead and spend 3 mana. And cast the Plundering Barbarian. This is a 2/2 Dwarf Barbarian. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or create a treasure token. We'll destroy the Thieves' Tools. There goes the Thieves' Tools. We'll also spend 2 more mana to cast the Hobgoblin Captain. Finally, we'll play the Mountain. We don't have good attacks, so we'll pass the turn. We draw an island. We'll play the island. Well, we don't have good attacks anymore, and the Grim Bounty won't blow up anything of significant consequence right now. So I think we're now stuck in the waiting game, and we will pass the turn. Rakdos draws a swamp. I think we just hold this in our hand for the time being, and with no good attacks, we'll pass the turn. Tamir draws a Soul Knife Spy. It's a good card. We'll go ahead and play it. It's a 3/2 Elf Rogue, and whenever it deals combat damage to the player, draw a card. We don't have a good way through just yet, but hopefully we can find one. And we'll pass the turn. Rakdos draws a swamp. We'll play one of the swamps. Still no good way through, so we'll pass the turn. Draw a swamp. We'll play an island. I guess we could blow up one of their creatures and then use the Skullport Merchant to draw on the treasure. I'll get rid of their biggest creature. Alright, let's try that. We'll spend 4. And we'll cast Grim Bounty. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Create a treasure token. We'll target the swarming goblins. Goblins die. We get a treasure. We'll spend 2 mana to sack the treasure to draw a card. We get another island. So with flood happening, we'll pass the turn here. Rakdos draws a sepulchral ghoul. We'll spend 2 mana to cast the sepulchral ghoul. This is a 2/1 zombie. Sacrifice another creature. It gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Activate only once each turn. It's not enough to do anything in terms of moving the needle here, so we'll pass the turn. Dimir draws a Clever Conjurer. We'll play a blue mana, and then we'll tap 3 and cast the Clever Conjurer. This is a 2/3 gnome wizard, and you can tap it to untap target permanent not named Clever Conjurer. Activate only as a sorcery. Nothing to do right now but stare. We'll pass the turn. Rakdos draws a Horde Robber. We'll spend 2 mana and cast the Horde Robber. This is a 1/3 Tiefling Rogue. Whenever it deals combat damage to player, create a treasure token. Still nothing much to do, so we'll pass the turn. Dimir draws a Scion of Stygia. We still don't have much good going on here. It's better to be used as a surprise to sneak through, so I think we're just going to hold here and pass the turn. Draw an Evolving Wilds. We're going to play and crack the Evolving Wilds to thin our deck, grabbing a mountain because that's all that's left. And then we'll pass the turn. Dimir draws a Baleful Beholder. Okay, this might be something. We can get a bunch of our guys through. They need to double block. Is that enough to kill them? We'll lock it down so all 4 of our creatures will get through. It'll be the 4 weakest, so it'll be a Skullport Merchant, Vampire Spawn, Clever Conjurer, and Mind Flayer, I'm guessing. They'll take 6 and go to 2. We'll lose the Mind Flayer though. That'll return the Skullport Merchant to them. It's not quite good enough, but maybe we can Sign of Stygia the next turn, see what comes out, and then Baleful Beholder to see if we can push through. In the meantime, I think we're gonna switch plans here, and we are going to tap 2 to move the Trickster's Talisman all the way over to the Mind Flayer, making it a better blocker here, and then we'll pass the turn. Rakdos draws a Dragon's Fire. I wish we drew on this earlier because that could have blown up the Mind Flayer and changed the math around here. I think we need to hold on to it to see if we can stop the Soul Knife Spy. We'll play the Swamp so we have some extra mana to activate this Hive of Eye Tyrant, and then we'll pass the turn. Untap. Draw a Clattering Skeletons. Okay. And that's another creature, so maybe this will get us over the hump. So we'll play the Swamp. We'll spend 4 mana and cast the Clattering Skeletons. This is a 4/3 skeleton, and when it dies, venture into the dungeon. Then we'll Scion of Stygia at the end of the turn, and Baleful Beholder, and then swing on the next turn. So we will pass the turn here. Skeletons is big, but I think we still need to hold the Dragon's Fire for some other kind of trouble, so we'll go to our turn. Rakdos draws a Yuan-Ti Fangblade. Then we will tap 3 mana and cast the Yuan-Ti Fangblade. This is a 2/2 Snake Rogue with Death Touch, and when it deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. That's a good blocker. So we just hold here and pass the turn. They'll still be able to block 3, but I think the time has come. If we get our 4 weakest through, that'll be 7, plus the 2 from the Scion of Stygia. I think that's good enough. So let's go ahead and play for 3 mana the Scion of Stygia. This is a 2/1 Tiefling Shaman with Flash, and when it enters the battlefield, choose a target creature opponent controls, and then roll a d20, and for 1 through 9 tap that creature, and 10 through 20 tap that creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So we'll roll a d20, and choosing the Yuan-Ti Fangblade, we roll the 10, and so the Fangblade will be tapped and not untapped. Fangblade taps. Then we'll go to our turn. Draw a Ray of Enfeeblement. Oh, that's good. I can probably pick off another creature. We will spend 1 black mana and cast the Ray of Enfeeblement. It's an instant. Target creature gets -4/-1 until end of turn. If that creature is white, it gets -4/-4 instead. We'll target the Hobgoblin Captain. Rather than just let the captain die, the ghoul will eat the captain and become a 4/3. Then we'll spend 6 mana and cast the Baleful Beholder. This is a 6/5 beholder, and when it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices an enchantment or creatures you control gain menace until end of turn. We'll give all our creatures menace until end of turn and swing. So we can only block 2 creatures, which means that we have to block the 2 strongest ones. So we'll put the 4/3 and the Horde Robber on the Mind Flayer, and then the 2/2 and the 1/1 on the Soul Knife. We'll also tap 2 mana to cast Dragon's Fire. This is an instant. As an additional cost to the spell, when you may reveal a dragon card from your hand or choose a dragon you control, it deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you revealed a dragon card or chose a dragon as you cast the spell, it deals damage equal to the power of that card or creature instead. We don't have a dragon, so it's just going to deal 3 damage, and we'll target the Clattering Skeletons. We'll go ahead and use the Skullport Merchant's ability to sacrifice the Clattering Skeletons. They'll die. We will go to the next level to scry 1, and we'll stack that trigger before we draw the card. And so we'll take a look at the next card. It's a Swamp. We'll put it on the bottom, and then we will draw a Zombie Ogre. And then combat will happen. The Mind Flayer and the Soul Knife Spy will both die, but Rakdos will still take 9 damage and will perish. And so that will end the game with Dimir winning game 1. We'll be right back for game 2. Neither deck will sideboard, and Rakdos will be on the play this turn. Rakdos draws a Dragonfire, Mountain, Rider, Mountain, Evolving Wild, Skullport Merchant, and Improvised Weaponry. Not an amazing hand, but still one that works, so we'll keep it. Dimir draws a Thieves' Tools, Island, Fates Reversal, Clever Conjurer, Sign of Stygia, Vampire Swan, and Displacer Beast. Having only 1 land makes this an instant mulligan. Now we draw a Westgate Regent, Mind Flayer, Swamp, Shortcut Seeker, Swamp, Island, and Swamp. It's a really slow hand against what seems like it's a fast deck, but I don't think we can not keep this particular hand, and so we'll take the Swamp and put it on the bottom. Rakdos plays an Evolving Wilds. We'll tap and sacrifice it and get a Swamp. Then we'll pass the turn. Dimir draws an Island. We'll play an Island, and we'll pass the turn. Rakdos draws a Mountain. We'll play the Mountain, and we'll pass the turn. Dimir draws a Pixie Guide. We'll play a Swamp. We'll tap both, and we'll cast a Pixie Guide. This is a 1/3 flyer, and if you would roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that many dice plus 1 and ignore the lowest roll. We'll pass the turn. We draw a Price of Loyalty. We'll play a Mountain. We'll tap 3, and we'll cast the Skullport Merchant. Got a treasure, and then we will pass the turn. Draw a Sign of Stygia. We'll play a Island, and we will swing with the Pixie Guide. Rakdos 6/1. Goes to 19. We'll hold up the Scion, and we'll pass the turn. Rakdos draws a Mountain. We'll play another Mountain. We could play the Drider, but we're going to be able to do that next turn anyways. I think we just hold for now. We'll pass the turn. Don't think we want to waste the Scion just now, so we'll let that go. Draw Clattering Skeletons. We'll play a Swamp. And I think this is where the Skeletons will be useful to overcome the Skullport Merchant. We'll spend 4 mana and cast the Clattering Skeletons. We'll attack with the Pixie Guide for 1. Rakdos takes 1, it goes to 18. Dimir will pass a turn. At the end of Dimir's turn, the Merchant will tap 2 and sacrifice the treasure to draw a card. We get into the Mountain. We go into the Swamp. We'll play the Swamp. And I guess it's time to get Dridering. So let's spend all the mana. Cast the Drider. We don't have good attacks, so we will pass the turn. We draw a Clever Conjurer. Can't get through the Drider with the Clattering Skeletons, and we want to be able to block it. But we will be able to with the Shortcut Seeker. So do I risk punching? I think so. I think it's worth it. Okay, we're going to swing with the Clattering Skeletons. Drider is probably too strong to block with it, so we'll take 4 and go down to 14. And we'll tap out, and we'll cast the Shortcut Seeker. That plus the Guide should block the Drider well. We'll pass the turn. On tap. Draw. We'll get on the Mountain. We'll play one of our many mountains. I think we can steal and sack. I want to do the Skeletons, but I think it's better to get rid of the Seeker, and then we can get the 2/1. So let's go ahead and spend 3 mana. And we'll cast Price of Loyalty. It's a sorcery. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. If mana from a treasure was spent to cast that spell, then the creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. We'll target the Shortcut Seeker. We lose the Shortcut Seeker. There's the Seeker. We'll go ahead and swing with the whole team. Dimir will block the Shortcut Seeker with the Pixie Guide and take 5, going to 15. And then we'll spend 2 mana to sacrifice the Shortcut Seeker. To draw a card, we draw a Plundering Barbarian. Shortcut Seeker enters Dimir's graveyard. Then we'll pass the turn. We draw a Soul Knife Spy. I think at this point getting the Creditor Conjurer is good, because that'll get us to the Regent or Mind Flayer mana. Oh, the Drider creates a Spider. I think it behooves us to actually stand our ground now. So we'll spend 3 mana and cast the Clever Conjurer. And then we'll pass the turn. We'll untap. Draw a Skullport Merchant. We'll play another Mountain. I think we try to close the door while we can. So we'll spend 2 mana and cast Dragonfire, targeting the Clattering Skeletons. Skeletons die. We'll venture into the Lost Mine of Phandelver. We'll scry the swamp to the top. We'll swing with the Drider. Seems like an easy double block. The Drider will order the damage to the Conjurer. The Conjurer will die. The Drider dies. Then we'll spend 3 mana and cast Improvised Weaponry, targeting the Pixie Guide to finish it off. Guide dies. And then we'll pass the turn. Draw the swamp that we knew is coming. We'll tap out and we will play the Westgate Regent. It's a 4/4 vampire with flying and ward, discard a card. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. So we'll run away the game pretty quickly. If it can't deal with it, we'll pass the turn. Needing to deal with that pretty quickly, we will tap the remaining lands and sacrifice the treasure to the Skullport Merchant to draw a card. We'll draw a Goblin Javelineer. Draw a Hive of the Eye Tyrant. We'll play the Hive of the Eye Tyrant. We'll tap 3 and cast another Skullport Merchant, getting us another treasure. We'll pay 1 to cast the Goblin Javelineer, and then we're just going to have to pass for this round. Draw an island. We'll play the island. This is a pretty good play here. We're going to spend 3 mana, and we'll cast the Scion of Stygia, rolling the d20. We roll a 6, we'll tap the Spider, and then we'll go attacking with the Westgate Regent. We'll take 4 and go to 10. The Regent will get 4 +1/+1 counters, and then we will tap 3 more and cast the Soul Knife Spy, and then we'll pass the turn. At the end of Rakdos' turn, we'll tap 2 to sacrifice the treasure and draw a card. We draw a Hobgoblin Captain. We'll draw a Deadly Dispute. Okay, that might buy us a little time. So I think we want to keep the Plundering Barbarian for the Thieves' Tools if it should come out again. But in the meantime, we'll tap 2 and cast the Hobgoblin Captain. And then we'll hold up Deadly Dispute to chump with the Spider and then draw off of its death. We don't have good attacks if we accept with the Spider, and so we'll pass the turn. So normally I would remove their strongest creatures, but I think taking the Spider actually benefits us the most, because then the Westgate Regent can attack freely again. So we'll spend 5 mana and cast Mind Flayer, and we will attempt to take the Spider. This is very bad, but we will spend 2 mana and cast Deadly Dispute to sacrifice the Spider to draw 2 cards. We draw a Horde Robber and a Hoarding Ogre. These are neither of what we need here. Dimir attacks with the Westgate Regent for 8 damage. Rakdos goes to 2. The Regent will get 8 more counters, going up to 12, making it a 16/16, and then we will pass the turn. We draw a Shambling Ghast. We have no way of blocking the Regent, so I think this is where we search for answers, I guess. We don't have enough damage to get through anyways, so then we'll tap 3 and cast the Plundering Barbarian. We'll create a treasure token. We'll tap 2 to sacrifice that treasure token to one of the Skullport Merchants to draw a card. This is a Hobgoblin Bandit Lord. That's not going to be enough to get us there, unfortunately. Well, we'll just play out the hand. We'll tap 3 and cast the Hobgoblin Bandit Lord. This is a 2/3 Goblin Rogue. Other goblins you control get +1/+1. You pay a red tap. It deals damage equal to the number of goblins that enter the battlefield under your control this turn to any target. And then we'll tap 1 more to cast a Shambling Ghast. We don't have amazing attacks, but we will attack with the Hobgoblin Captain for 3. We can trade the Sign of Stygia for that. Captain goes down. And then we'll pass the turn. Untap, draw, swing with the Rustigate region for the win, and that is the game. Dimir kind of rolled over Rakdos with his bombs, but sometimes that happens in Sealed. Let me know what you thought about the decks and the games in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of my videos, you can hit subscribe. This is Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.